Good evening, everybody. My name is Nia Noelle, and welcome to another episode of Wine Down Wednesday. Hopefully, you have your beverage of choice with you and a snack. And we have a special guest with us today. So be sure to hop in the comments and ask questions as we go along through our conversation. I would like to bring to the stage the one, the only cake queen from J Sweets and Treats, Juana Williams. How are you doing today? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, you can't
I
hear
can
me,
hear
but
you.
oh goodness. All right. Technical problems when we have a live show. Geez. All right. So we're going to see if we can get her to hear us. But in the meantime, if you guys have questions, get ready, get set, and get down in those comments. Juana, can you hear me yet?
I can't hear you.
All right. See what we can do about this here. We're going to bring her back in just a couple minutes. You guys, you know how live shows are. Sometimes it's just like this and you have technical problems. So we're going to bring Juana back in just a little bit. If you don't know, Juana is the owner of J Sweets and Treats. She has two amazing bakery locations here in Columbus. So I can't wait to talk to her about her business and everything that she's been doing for entrepreneurship in Columbus and the Polaris area, the Columbus Metro. So we're going to try to get her back in just a couple of minutes. Let's see what we've got going here. And thank you all for joining us. Don't forget, Wind Down Wednesday is every other Wednesday, and we broadcast live right here on the Magic Facebook page and YouTube page and on our website at mycolumbusmagic.com. So if you ever want to see a prior episode, there are plenty of videos there. And also, we do have a great event coming up on November the 13th, Sister to Sister. It is a virtual conference for women. We're going to cover a wide variety of topics. So you can watch right here where you're watching now and get your popcorn and get ready for that. It will be an amazing interactive event that day. A lot of great topics that you're definitely going to be a part of. And also, since we are talking about things that we have coming up, you can catch me on Magic 95.5 every Friday. What time do I come on? 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. for you late night owls. And then I am on Saturday for your Saturday session from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. So plenty of chances to hang out with me and our entire Magic 95.5 family so we can have a great time. Want to see if we can get through our technical problems. Maybe Juana's back yet?
I'm here. I'm here.
Yay! All right. Honey, you never know with the live show. Sometimes, I'm sure you know how it is as a business owner. Sometimes you just hit a little bump and you got to get past it, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad we got past it because it's kind of important for you to hear me. I could hear you, but you need to hear what I want to ask you and everything. But
Okay.
welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here because, I hate to say this, but I'm kind of I'm a sweet junkie. I love sweets. I'm that person where I have dinner and I'm like, even if it's just like a little cookie, what we having sweet, like just a little something. And I remember like years ago asking people, best cakes in town, best baker, best cookies, best cupcakes, and your name just kept coming up. And I've been watching you.
Okay.
And you're doing some stuff. 2 stores now. You really
Yeah,
making moves, honey. So
absolutely.
yeah, tell everybody your different locations around town.
Sure. So we are located at 1540 Parsons Avenue, which is about a mile and a half from Children's Hospital, and also in the Polaris Fashion Place. So we're inside the mall on the second floor across from Saks and Williams Sonoma.
Okay, I haven't been to the Polaris location yet, but I'm on the north side of town, so I definitely will come in there and check you
Appreciate
out.
that.
So tell me your background. What made you start making sweets? Are you from like a sweets family like I am, like where everybody was like, we got to have something sweet after dinner? What got you into baking?
So my background is corporate America. In December 2019, I retired after 25 years of working as a member of the executive team at AT&T. But my family is a sweets family. My friends were
Okay.
always asking me, can you make this cake or can you do a pound cake? Or, my mom was a big baker. And once she started getting ill and she passed away, I kind of picked up that torch. So now all the holidays are at my house. I'm that person that eats on time if we say 2 o'clock. So I don't do potlucks because if you show up at 2:05, you've missed a blessing and we're already getting started. So I would just do it all, but the
Yeah.
food, the desserts, the everything. And it just became second nature that at Christmas time, I would bake tins of cookies for all of my family and friends and all the different desserts. And the desserts just started getting more grand and a little more ridiculous each year. They're like, we don't even know what this is, but it's really good. So
And it's pretty.
I'm all about the pretty. I mean, it has to taste good, but if it's not
Yeah.
visually appealing,
Yeah.
I'm a creative. So it has to look like something in order for me to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so fascinating because I think a lot of people that love to bake, they come from similar families. My
Hmm.
family's the same way. Everybody kind of has their own specialty. So, my grandma, she does the yams. My mom, she does one thing, and we all kind of come together. But I'm kind of the mac and cheese and the sweets girl.
Okay.
So I do the mac and cheese, and then they're like, okay, what are you baking? So I think a lot of people that, you know, we grow up in these families where we love food, we love the sweets, and then we just start having an affinity for making them. I think it's so therapeutic to bake. I
Oh,
try
it
not to
is.
eat everything I bake, but I love baking. Like you said, giving cookies, treats, and all that kind of stuff as gifts. I just find it so, so much fun and relaxing. Do you feel like that way too?
I absolutely do. And it's very therapeutic, like you said. If you're having a hard day or if you're going through some things and you get lost in a recipe and you create something that's fantastic, it's taking your mind off of whatever you're thinking about that's not positive for 2 or 3 hours. So it kind of takes you away from the realities of the world and gives you just the quiet, safe space to land. So that's what baking does for me.
So, what is your favorite thing to bake?
Right now, I would say probably cheesecakes. I'm
Oh,
I love to bake cheesecakes. We do a great job with cheesecakes, and it's such a blank slate. There's
mhm.
so many different flavor profiles that you can create, things that you wouldn't imagine you can throw into a cheesecake and it bakes up delicious. So I'm on a cookie and a cheesecake kick right now.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have never attempted a cheesecake. As much as I love a cheesecake, I've never attempted it. But you may inspire me to try and just put some stuff in one and just see what happens, you know?
Just try it. My recommendation is be patient. Have
Okay.
everything at room temperature. People like to skip those steps. And oh, I'm just going to use it out of the fridge. It makes a huge difference. So I take my cream cheese out a couple hours before I use it, as well as my sour cream and my eggs. So everything is just nice and room temperature. Beat it until it turns liquefied. You don't want thick, clumpy cheesecake, and you'll
Yeah.
have magic.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try it. Maybe this holiday season. We'll see.
Okay,
I don't know if I'm brave enough to try it over a holiday.
test it out before you give it to the family.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So where did you get to the point where you went from the family table to baking and selling baked goods? Where did that happen for you?
Well, I can't really pinpoint where the switch happened, but I know that I was baking so much and so often for friends and family that my husband said, "Hey, honey, your little hobby there is really expensive. So what are you going to do?"
Yeah,
When
yeah.
I would go to the grocery store and only come back with baked goods, she's like, "That's great. What are we going to eat?" So it was at that moment I was like, "Okay, so we're going to transition into something different." And I say all the time, a dear friend of mine was having a birthday, and she called and said, "Hey, can you make a two-tier cake?" And I had never made one before, but I knew that I was a heck of a baker, and my husband's an engineer, so if I made it, he'd make it stand up. She took it to a restaurant. Everyone loved it. Her friends started ordering. People from the restaurant started ordering. And that just kind of, along with her pop up shops, catapulted us into our world of craziness and chaos today.
So you went from baking at home to
Hmm.
pop-up shops and baking for friends into
Yeah.
now having your own two shops. Did you ever think in your mind that it would get to this point?
I'm a dreamer, but I'm also a realist. So I knew that if this is the route I wanted to go, I would get to this point. Did I think that it would happen so soon? No.
Yeah.
Did I think that I would expand so quickly? No. Did I think that the response would be so overwhelming? I'm not originally from Columbus, so I thought they're either going to love me or hate me. And they love the sweets. They may still hate me, but they love the sweets. I don't know.
No, I don't think that they would still be ordering from you if they
No,
hate
I
you
know they
too.
wouldn't.
Definitely. I think that's such a great evolution, especially coming from corporate America. There's so many people in current times that aren't happy in corporate America. They're quitting their jobs and trying to figure out where they're going to work and what they're going to do and how they're going to survive. What advice would you give to someone that's thinking about making that leap?
Absolutely. So my position was a little different because I actually loved my job. I
Mm,
had been very successful at the job. I had been there 25 years. And what happened was the baking started to take over. So there was no downtime. There was no sleep because I was either working my day job or baking most of the night. So it
yeah.
got to the point where there was no life family balance. And so I needed to make some decisions. But my recommendation would be to really have faith, because without faith, none of this is possible. You have to believe in your product, but your product has to be proven with the general public. So have pop-up shops, go out there with your friends and kind of see what people are wanting, take polls. And once you make enough money to sustain your lifestyle, then walk away from corporate America. Some people say, oh, I quit and I just stepped out on faith. I still had bills. So for as much
That's
as I
right.
love God and I have faith, that wasn't going to pay my light bill. And so I made sure that what I was doing was substantial enough to take care of my lifestyle, because obviously I can't live off just selling cupcakes.
Yeah, and I found that very interesting. I always love to hear people's interpretation of how they got to that point with their small business, because I
Mhm.
always say small businesses or just having your own business, small or big, is not for the faint at heart. I'm somewhere that feels more comfortable knowing I'm going to get 2 paychecks a month and exactly how
Uh-huh.
much they're going to be.
Uh-huh.
It's rough. I can't wrap my brain around that, and then also getting to that point where you have a staff and people that you're responsible for, and then the reality of sometimes paying them and you're not getting paid. It can be rough, and you're working for free, but you're making sure your people are getting paid twice a month because of that responsibility. What do you think has been the toughest thing as being a business owner?
So my husband is much like you. He's of the mindset that 2 paychecks coming in, that's, and he would probably never quit his day job because of that. Like I said, I have a lot of faith in myself, and I figure that I had been very successful in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Um, Doing what I do. So if I'm going to bet money, I'm going to bet money on me. It is a lot of
Mm.
pressure. I
Yeah.
have a lot of livelihoods at stake. My best friend is one of my store managers. My daughter is another. If I don't succeed, they don't eat. So that's
Yeah.
not an option for me. So the added pressure is, yes, I'm going to make sure I'm good and I'm going to get a paycheck. And that's I think one of the biggest things that entrepreneurs don't do. They fall into the trap of not paying themselves. You need
Yeah.
to pay yourself. So
Okay.
whatever you need to do to generate that money, you get a
Yeah.
paycheck every 2 weeks like everybody else. So my W-2 says J Sweet Treats, and I get paid just like they do. But it is a lot of pressure because I need to maintain my salary because that's what I'm accustomed to. But I also need to make sure that my daughter has a roof over her head and her car payment is paid, and the
Yeah.
same for my best friend and the rest of my staff. So I feel like it's just an added responsibility. It gives me more fuel to my fire to be successful because it's not just me.
Yeah.
I can close the doors and go get a corporate job at any moment and be great, but would they be in the same situation?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. It's just a different sense of pressure. And I think a lot of people don't think about it. One of my best friends, she and her husband are in business. So just talking to them and hearing some of the nuances, it's just like,
Hmm.
wow, like, business owners, you guys are just next level of guts
Yeah.
and tenacity, because honey, I need to know exactly what I'm getting at the least.
No, listen, I mean, there were a couple months, right when COVID hit, that I was thinking, what the hell did I just do?
So let's talk about it, because we have a comment From the audience, Linda Castleberry Thomas is saying, how did the pandemic affect your business? Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, it affected it drastically. We opened, I want to say 6 days prior to the world being shut down. So we
Girl,
had this
stop.
huge grand opening. I promise you, we had this huge grand opening. We had lines down Parsons to the point that people were in line. They didn't know what they were in line for, but they thought it's got to be good. So people come in and go, oh, this is a bakery. I had no clue, but everybody's standing here. So we were doing phenomenal. Our first 6 days were record breaking. I set all of these goals and I'm like, we're blowing these goals out of the water. And my husband texted me and said, take a look at your phone. So I looked at my phone and I told my daughter, I don't really know what this means, but I think it's affecting us from the standpoint that we might not be able to open tomorrow. So I started reading through the literature and I'm like, there's this little loophole. It says essential for food. I don't know how sweets will fall into essential, but we're going to stay open until they say different.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. It stopped the foot traffic because no one was going out. The pickup orders were few and far between, so we had to pivot. We did some things that we didn't plan to do. We joined DoorDash and we joined Grubhub, and we created little wellness baskets and things like that that people could send to the hospitals. And we started making more products that ship easy, that weren't as perishable. So we had to pivot our whole business plan in order to stay afloat.
Yeah. And it seems like it worked for you guys,
It worked for us. I mean, there were some rocky moments, there's that ebbing and flowing, and sometimes it ebbed a little bit more than it was flowing. However, we have a strong support system, and those who were our fans and our clients before, they really stepped up and they started these initiatives like, we're going to support these Black businesses. Whenever we want something sweet, no matter how small, we're going to call. So, I mean, hats off to the city of Columbus because they really rallied behind us and started buying things that maybe they didn't even deem necessary, but they wanted to support us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely think that is amazing. And I don't know that people realize the impact that it had on a lot of businesses and
Oh, yeah.
lives. Even just spending $5 on a cupcake, like
Mhm.
how does that affect you and your business especially in a pandemic? How would a small purchase like that, is that important?
Yes, every purchase is important. As you think if 10 people buy something small and 5 people buy something large, at the end of the day, all of that money goes into one kitty, into one pool. So
Yeah.
every little bit makes a difference. We had people who were just buying gift cards. I'm going to buy a gift card, and when Christmas comes around, I'm going to give it to someone. So we extended our gift card policy. It used to be it was, good for 6 months, and we turned it into a year so that people would have it over the holidays. So every little bit is important, no matter how small.
Yeah, I just like to share that because, sometimes people always, a lot of times people want to support, but they think you have to support on a grand gesture or a
Yeah.
lot of money. But even, a small amount of money or supporting another way, like sharing something you've posted on social media related to your business. I just wanted to show that it is impactful to businesses like yours. You know what I mean?
It's very impactful. And I was going to say, in addition to the monetary, the people sharing, we had people who had never stepped foot into J Sweet Treats. We were 6 days old when the world shut down, but they were rallying behind us. They were sharing our information. I mean, I would see recommendations on sites that people would say, join this group. I'm like, why do I have to join this group? Oh, because they keep recommending you. And I'm thinking, I don't know anyone in this group. Like, we have no mutual friends, but they had heard about us and they were sharing because they wanted us to be okay. So that
Yeah.
means the world to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, let's talk about cakes. I know
Yeah.
that, cookies, cupcakes, cheesecakes are cool and you do a lot of those, but why, and I'm asking this because I know people complain about this all the time. They want a fabulous cake and they cringe when you tell them how much a fabulous cake costs. Please
Yeah.
tell people why fabulous cakes cost money.
Fabulous cakes take a fabulous amount of time.
Yes.
They take a long time. You
Yeah.
want the cake, you want it to, be 3 or 4 tiers high, and you want 6 different colors of buttercream, and you want fondant cutouts or covered in fondant, and you want it to blow smoke, you want it to twirl around. All of that takes time. I mean, I wish I could snap my fingers and make it happen, but it really does take time. I'm relatively fast at making cakes, so it takes me less time in some cases than others. However, it's a lot of product involved. There's a lot of time involved. You're getting the ingredients, you're putting them together, you're baking the cake, you're waiting the 2.5 hours for it to cool, you're rolling out the fondant and cutting out all of the small pieces, and you're mapping out your plan, you're drawing, you're providing sketches and doing tastings. At the end of the day, I could have 8 to 10 hours wrapped up in your cake.
Yeah.
So just think about your hourly rate. You're not
Yeah.
working for $5 an hour,
No.
10, 15, or 20 either.
No.
So those
No.
are things you have to take into consideration. People will send a picture and they'll say, "Oh, it's really simple. It won't take you any time to do it." And you look at it and you go, "Absolutely not simple." Where, where did you get that? Or they'll say, "Just make it smaller. Like, make the same cake and make it smaller. Does that decrease the price?" The size of your cake isn't dictating your price. It's the time it takes to create all the bells and whistles that you want that are
Yeah.
going into your actual price. So my cakes are not cheap. I mean, you will call other places and you may get a cake for cheaper. Will it be as good? I don't know, because I only eat my cakes. But I can tell you, I give it my all for every customer.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to share that tidbit because, I hear people talk about, oh my
Yes,
gosh, this cake is so expensive, and they want something custom and beautiful and
yes,
also tasting good, but
yes,
don't realize the time that goes into it. And you're not sitting there in your bakery, open Betty Crocker, and, throwing it in the mixer and going at it. Like, I just wanted people to understand the time and effort that it takes to put into those cakes, that it really
absolutely.
works of art.
They really are. They're
Yeah.
really works of art. We have people that also say, "Well, can you do a layer that's a dummy cake?" And my price is the same. I don't do faux cakes
Mhm.
because, all honesty, it's easier to do a real cake than a faux cake. That faux cake has no weight, so you
Yeah.
have to make sure that you secure it down, and then it's going to be perfectly straight in all angles, so everything has to match. I don't do faux cakes. Like, I'll give you the real deal and I'll give you the best possible price, but my price is my price. I don't haggle or negotiate that. And I'm going to provide a great service for what you pay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you shared that. I definitely wanted to touch on that. So, aside from walking in or ordering these special cakes and stuff, I am I correct to see that you guys do like events, like things at the bakery for the public?
Absolutely. So we
Mhm.
just did a cupcake karaoke in costume for Halloween time. So that was pretty fun. The mall had trick or treating where the kids came in and they went from store to store. So we decided to bring in a DJ and have some music playing, and people had the opportunity to do a little karaoke while they ate their cupcakes. We also give back to the community in a lot of different ways. So we've partnered with the Ronald McDonald House. So some of our extras at the end of the nights will be going to them starting on the 19th of the month. So we try to make sure we give back to the same community that's supporting us.
Yeah. That I think that's beautiful because Ronald McDonald House is a special place, and a lot of people don't know. A lot of those
Yeah,
families don't live here and they're displaced. So that little sweet treat, that's going to bring some smiles to people's
yeah.
faces that are battling, you know, diseases with their children, trying to help them fight them. So I think that's amazing. And kudos to you guys for doing that.
Thank you.
Any future events coming up? Are you guys doing anything for the holiday or anything?
So we have a lot of things on tap. We're kicked off our holiday cake decorating sessions, which is really fun for me to be able to bring in people and teach them what I know and what I love. So our cake classes are going to be happening twice in November and twice in December. And for 2022, we're going to have monthly cake classes. So we'll pick a different theme each month.
Oh,
So we're very excited about that as well. We've signed a contract with Sherry's Berries and 1-800-Flowers earlier in 2021. So all of the Sherry's Berries that you guys receive are actually coming from our bakery, which is nice. And
Wow.
all of the fruit bouquets from 1-800-Flowers are coming as well. So we've taken it a step further and we've signed on with them to do same day cakes. So if you
Girl.
have an urgent need, I know it's that corporate America, honey. I can't live off cupcakes.
I feel you. You are exploding. That's awesome.
Yeah, so if you are in a last minute crunch and you need a same day cake, they'll have 3 or 4 to choose from. We will be fulfilling those orders as well. So we're very excited about that. We've got some other things, in the works that we can't yet talk about, just
Absolutely.
believing God that they're going to come to fruition. So those are some of the exciting things happening right now.
That's so many great things. Now, if people want to find out about any of your events, where can they find you? Website, social media, where can they find all this information?
Sure. So we always post on Instagram and Facebook, and we
Mhm.
will update our website under the event slot. So check there.
Mhm.
I'm big on social media, so typically everything we do is put out a lot via Instagram and Facebook because that's where our customer base is for the most part.
Mhm.
So we'll always try to keep you updated ahead of time so you have time to prepare.
Very good. Very good. One question from the audience. Lindo Casper Thomas is back. She wants to know, do you ship?
Yes, 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 we ship. So right now we're shipping a lot of our items that don't require refrigeration. So our pound cakes, our cookies, our brownies, etc. We
Mhm.
can ship the other cakes. It's a little more expensive. Shipping has gone up
Honey.
drastically. And so I have kind of scaled back on trying to ship those items simply because I have to pass the cost on to my customer. And it doesn't make sense when you buy a $50 cake that you're paying $70 in shipping to get it there safely. So some of the things that don't require all of the extra to get it there, we're shipping on a regular basis.
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend that has a business and she's trying to figure out some of the same things too. It's just like, I know, the cost of everything is going up, but the shipping is really affecting a lot of businesses. What can you say as a business owner when stuff goes up and having to pivot, or the pandemic, how you pivot? What can you say to business owners, advice on being able to pivot when things like that disrupt your business?
And exactly. So it's great to have a business plan, but your business plan needs to have a safety net. So I was never prepared for the pandemic. So don't let me even allude you to believe that because that wasn't true. But I was prepared for if we didn't have X amount of foot traffic, I researched other ways to generate income.
Yeah.
And I started researching these different companies. Oh, well, who is Sherry's Berries using, for their product? It looks like it's coming from a local source. So I started tapping in and contacting these companies. Don't be afraid to contact a company. The only thing they can tell you is no.
Yeah.
So what I found out was they were actually already looking at us, to approach us for this because they have done their due diligence and they vetted us and they were looking for someone in the area that could handle the load. So don't be afraid to reach out to companies. Don't be afraid to send care packages to corporations. When you send that care package to
Mm.
say, "Hi, I'm a new business in the area. If you're in need of corporate gifting, etc., here's my business card. Here's what I can do." They receive those items, they enjoy those items, and guess what? They put that business card up, and when there's something that comes up, they call you. I mean, we've been commissioned to go all the way to Pittsburgh, to Time Scientific. We've been to Cincinnati, to Procter and Gamble, Huntington Bank, Chase Bank. We've been all over. And that's
Yeah.
because word of mouth. People are saying, hey, when we did this event, this is who we use. And it's on their social media platforms. Other companies see it. They want to utilize that source as well. And that's how
Sound
Disney found us. I mean, we just recently were commissioned to do a cake for Disney, and they found us through our website, through word of mouth, a recommendation from a local reporter here in Columbus.
Wow. Wow. I think that's amazing. And I'm glad that you shared that because I know that things like that can apply to any industry. It's not just baking.
Every industry.
Yeah, yeah. And it seems like you have a lot of great advice and experience. And I love how you took your corporate experience and applied it into your business that you are running now. I think that is amazing. And I just want to commend you for everything you're doing and making it work, honey. Because like you said, nobody planned for that. You opened and 6 days later, they was like, nah.
No. And, the difference with small business owners is we don't have corporate backers. I mean, unless you have someone that wants to, come on. But generally, when we start out, it's us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to make it work. We don't have a safety net to fall on. If no one comes in, we don't have a large corporation that's going to pay that light bill each month and that gas bill each month and buy those supplies. Those are our responsibility. Therefore, we have to make sure that we're doing all we can to generate enough money to sustain that. I mean, last month our light bill was like $475. I wanted to sit in my truck and cry. I'm like, $475 and I can't drive it? Like I can't roll the windows down and turn the
No, I
music
was
up?
thinking that's a car payment. Like, my gosh.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And those are the things that people don't tell you about. So I'm very honest when I'm coaching a new business owner that all that glitters is not gold.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to be built differently to succeed in this world.
Honey. And you have to know what you can stand.
Listen, listen. If you're not a prayer warrior, you will be as an entrepreneur.
I know that's right. I know that's right. And have some prayer warriors around you too.
Surrounded.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you guys, please follow Juana and her business, J Sweets and Treats. It is amazing. Go down, buy a gift card, buy a cake, buy a cookie, buy a cheesecake, buy something and support her small business. Tell them the 2 locations again, please.
Absolutely. Parsons, 1540 Parsons Avenue, 43207, and also 1500 Polaris Parkway, Suite 2022. And if
Right.
you can't purchase anything from us, like our page, share what we're sharing, tell other people about us. It doesn't cost you anything to open your mouth and say, I love J Sweet Treats, and you will too. So just share in any way that you can.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking time and joining me tonight.
Of course.
Um, I will probably see you soon. If I don't see you, I will be in there because
Okay.
I will be grabbing some sweet and treats for myself.
I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. And I hope you have a great holidays. I'm so excited to see all of the new and exciting things that you guys are doing. And thank you to everybody that is at home, in the car, or wherever you are watching. I hope you're being safe. Wind Down Wednesday will be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Again, don't forget Sister to Sister, our virtual women's conference. It's free. It's happening here on November the 13th. You can visit our website, mycolumbusmagic.com, for more details. Have a great evening, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.